Hello, hello, and today we're going to talk about active no. So first of all, let's think about how the world is set usually and then why adding active no is a good idea. So imagine I have a website, and in this website I have a book, and I say, hey, this is a wonderful book for all of those reasons. We recommend that you buy this book. And you have a big button, press here to buy the book. That's the regular setup. Now in that setup, how do you say, I'm not interested in the book? You don't press the big button that says buy. But the problem is that we don't know who are the people who actively don't want the book versus the people who might not be interested in right now. You can't tell. You know the people who are buying it. Maybe from 100%, there are 2% of the people who want that book. But from the 98 other percent, you don't know where they stand. Are these people who say to themselves, I never want to try this book? Or they say, I'm kind of leaning toward it, but not right now. So imagine if instead we had 3 buttons. We had a button that says, buy this book right now. I never want to buy this book. And say, maybe I'll buy this book later. Now, the first thing that this helps us with is research. Who are those people? How many people actively don't want the book? And how many of them just don't want it right now? And having this 3-button approach really helps us with understanding those people. Now, you could say, let's just have 2 buttons. Buy the book right now and I don't want the book. Now, what does that do? What does that do? If we have 3 buttons, we know about how to divide the 2 populations. We know how to divide the 98% of the people who did not buy the book between the people who never want it and the people who would consider it again one day. What happens if we just have 2 buttons? Buy the book right now. I never want this book. What's the difference? You could say, oh, we have less data. Because we don't have the 3 groups, we have only 2 groups. That's true. But what we also get is we get to influence people's ways of thinking. You see, when I go to a website and I look at the book and I say, do I want it right now? Yes, I do. Doesn't feel so much, maybe not. But if I have these 2 buttons, the mindset changes. And then I say, am I more on the no side or when I'm more on the yes side? And what we find is that when you do this thing, more people say yes. For example, we did a study when we sent people an offer for a very good pre-approval for a loan. These were generally low-income people who were generally going to places that got very high interest loan. And we got them to be pre-approved for a better loan if they needed it. And we had some people got the form that says, if you're pre-approved, if you want to finalize the process, call this number. And some people got the same letter, says, if you want to finalize it, call this number. And if you don't want the loan, call this number. What happened? More people said they want it. You see, when you give people a forced choice between a yes or a no, what we call an active no, you get people to think more carefully. Am I on the yes side or on the no side? They stop thinking a little bit about maybe one day I'll reach to it, and they think more in a binary way. And because of that, you get more yes. So what are the lessons? The first lesson is we want to know. When people act, we know that they wanted it, but if people don't act, we don't really understand them. We don't really understand them, and we want to understand them better so we can have these 3 buttons. And we want to change people's mindset. We can include the no and get people to weigh the pros and cons of yes and no in a more deliberate way. And what we find is that more often people end up saying yes. The people who were usually procrastinating, some of them move to the yes. And this is the story about active no, both for research and for getting people to say yes more often.